Welcome back, everybody. Episode 6 of Ask the Collective. My name is Rich Brubaker. I'm the founder of Collective Responsibility, and it's great to have you back. This episode, we're going to be talking specifically and solely about how to get a job in sustainability. And while I was asked by a master's candidate or master's graduate, I've kind of created a framework that I believe will be valuable for anyone who's looking to enter the space as a fresh graduate from undergrad, a fresh master's, mid-career professional, or just someone trying to really at the executive level make a jump into the space. We hope that you enjoy this episode, and if you do, please remember, like, share, and comment. Thank you very much, and with that, here's the question.
Anvita asks, I recently completed my master's, and I'm looking to start my career in the sustainability field. However, I'm not sure how to go about it, as it is very difficult to get into the field, especially if you are a fresh graduate. I'd really appreciate it if you could share some advice.
All right, thank you very much, Anvita, for this, for your question. I have to be honest, it's really much easier if I'm writing this out than if I'm speaking to a camera, but I'm going to try and give you a few insights and tips that I think will help you. Because what I have off of your question is that you're a master's student who's interested, or recent graduate of master's, who's interested in sustainability. And for me, when I receive an email or a question from the audience around how to get a job in this sector, based on that, there's a few things that I try to ask them in person so I can figure out how to then help you the best. So I'm going to make two assumptions here. One is that you're a sustainability master's, and the other one is that you're a business master's, but with business background. Let's start with the business background MBA. This is the students that I tend to see more of because I teach MBA students. And traditionally what I try to do is I help first ask them, what is it that you really care about? Because let's assume that you have a background in marketing or in consulting or in supply chain ops, whatever it may be. You have a technical business skill that you've already got in your pocket. My big question is going to be, what is it that you really care about? Because what you really care about will be your fuel source for the first stage of this process. It's going to be what basically keeps you going when you are learning about things that you think you should know, or doing tasks that you think are maybe below you because you used to have a business career. And so my first thing to say is, if you come from a business background and you want to enter this space, first off, start with what is it that you care about? What is it that you want to work on? What is a challenge you want to solve? Start there. It can't be sustainability. It can't be corporate social responsibility. It has to be something specific like elderly, puppy dogs, trees, polar bears, something very specific. Step one. The second step for me is really to figure out the organization that you want to take the next step with. And there's two basic ones that I'll just lay out. There's profit and there's nonprofit. Now, assuming you come from the business background, assuming you have your MBA, my first recommendation is just avoid going back into business for a very clear reason. Because in the nonprofit space, what they're going to give you is the context and the knowledge around the issue that you're worried about. Very few businesses are going to send you out into the field to learn about biodiversity just as part of your daily job, or about elderly care as part of your daily job. But if you're working with nonprofits whose entire specific mission is to solve the problem that you are concerned with, then you're going to get a lot of information about that issue. You'll see the byproducts of the issue, like what you're actually seeing at the surface, but you'll get in-depth experience as long as you're out in the field. Now, the other important thing is when it comes down to job function, don't sit in an office, don't work in a big city if you're worried about something that is a rural initiative. Don't sit in an office if you're supposed to be talking to people. If this is a human thing or a biodiversity thing. Go out and get actual on-site knowledge and experience and depth as your primary job. So avoid office work. And then do this for about 6 months to 2 years. It really depends upon how big you think your gap is, because maybe you have a lot of experience volunteering with that issue, and then you just need to kind of top it up. But if you have no experience with the issue, you should be looking at a minimum of 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, so you can then come back and figure out what your next step is going to be. If you believe, after working with a nonprofit for this 18 months to 3 years, is to go back into the business sector and bring business tools, well, then you can do that. And then you kind of repeat the process from before and find, a company whose entire mission is to solve that. Now, I've been really interested lately by tech, and I think tech can bring a lot of really unique skills and scalability that you can't get through, say, a traditional brick and mortar business. But if you're looking at something that's more along the lines of poverty alleviation, job creation, you might be best off just finding, how do you develop local businesses in a local community and starting from there. So really focus on, on your second step, to take the marriage of your business skills and now your new issue-specific relevant content. When you marry those two things together, you can then figure out, we're for profit or for nonprofit. And if it's for profit, you can work at product, you can work at process, you can work in all kinds of different specific areas. But just find a company that you feel that you're passionate about, that you feel the people working on these projects are passionate about themselves, so that you have the opportunity to really bring forward a solution. Because the worst thing I've found is when someone ends up as a sustainability director, they're usually one of the, maybe one of a few people in the company. And they tend to not feel like they're part of the organization, feel like they're part of the process. They don't have a mission that they believe is aligned to their colleagues. They feel tacked on. But the more that you understand about business, the more you understand about the actual issue, the easier it's going to be for you to find your way into the business, to bring in business level discussions. And that, if your goal is to be a sustainability director, say manager, that's really where you want to be. The perfect marriage of kind of business skill and issue. Now, if your master's, kind of going back a little bit, if your master's is a sustainability master's, or if you're planning to get your sustainability master's, it's my hope that you're coming from a background deep in the issue and not in business. Because for me, a sustainability degree, it can be a blessing and a curse. It really depends upon how you want to parlay that into your first job. It makes it easier to go into the nonprofit space at times with a sustainability degree when it's topped, when underneath that is kind of 5 to 8 years of deep issue-specific research or issue-specific programming or issue-specific solution. But if you're trying to use a sustainability degree to get a sustainability director position, you can be in a really tough position if you don't have strong business background. Because business still doesn't understand, many businesses still don't understand what a sustainability degree really means. They don't understand, does that bring issue? Does that bring tools? Are they experts in one and not in the other? Like, when you're talking to an HR person, they tend to think of sustainability and CSR really as when they were maybe half-time or when their colleagues were half-time in the space and it being more about PR or HR. They don't understand or value the technical need at times for some of these degree holders. So again, if you had a sustainability degree and you did not have the issue-specific work background, I really recommend that you go and get that. If you don't have a sustainability degree, but you have, say, a water degree or energy degree, like energy efficiency or energy economics, or you're kind of water and ag, or it's very technical, then ignore that. If you have a really technical degree, then definitely go and basically leverage that into whatever organization you feel works best. But make sure it aligns, again, to the issue that you're most concerned with. Because for me as a hiring manager, and many of the hiring managers that I speak to, when it comes to bringing in people into sustainability, we're really looking for someone who's passionate about the cause. Because you can't just think that you have a 9 to 5 in sustainability. Most people who have a long-term career, who have a long burn, they work passionately. They're motivated. You often see them in the office very late, not because the job demands it, but because they're really trying to hack that problem. They're really trying to bring solutions. They're trying to bring people. They're constantly curious. And that's why it's really important that you both have an issue that's clear for you, and basically the skill sets to apply to it, but also that you're realistic and know that the skills that you don't have, that you need, you can get through your first job. So with that, I really hope that this has answered your question. I apologize if it's too broad, but if you have a specific one about your specific issues, or anyone else who's watching this and wants some active career development advice, I'm more than happy to give it to you one-on-one through direct messaging. So with that, thank you very much for your questions. If you liked it, please like it, share it, and if we didn't answer your question yet, please ask us a question. Thank you and have a great week.